We're following breaking news. 2 people are dead. 1 person is injured after a stabbing in North York. CP24's Steve Ryan is at the scene and joins us live with the very latest. Steve, you just got to the scene. What can you tell us?
Well, Scott, what we know according to the Toronto Police is that they received a radio call for a stabbing just after 3:30 this afternoon, Bathurst, south of Ellerslie. When they arrived on scene, they located a vehicle. I'll step out of out of your way. You can see this Lexus that's on the southbound lanes, straddling the curb on the east side. And there were 3 people in that vehicle. All had been stabbed. 1 person has been taken into custody, and 2 were pronounced at the scene as a result of stab wounds. Now, we do not know the relationship between the now accused and the 2 deceased, but we do know is that one of those 2 deceased was, in fact, a woman. What the relationship was to the stabber or to the other deceased, we do not know as of right now, but police say that there is no threat to public safety, which often suggests that there is no narrative outside of what took place in that vehicle. Now, statistically, what I can tell you is that most often when a woman is killed, they are killed by an intimate partner, by someone they trusted, by someone they loved, and typically it's a man. Not saying that in this particular situation, it'll all be part of the investigation, but what we do know, 2 deceased, both PSA on the scene. A suspect, now accused, arrested at the scene, suffered injuries as well. Initially, it was reported that he had, or that person rather, had serious injuries, but we're not sure now as to the extent of those. I am told by police that they're not as serious as initially thought. Here's more from the acting duty inspector who I spoke with when I arrived just a short time ago. Let's listen.
Police received multiple calls for service to the area of Bathurst and Sheppard regarding a struggle that was taking place in the vehicle. Police arrived on scene a short time later, made contact with 3 individuals. All 3 had injuries. Paramedics attended the scene, and despite life-saving measures at the scene, 2 were pronounced deceased. The 3rd party had minor injuries, was actually taken into custody and transported to hospital for treatment. And from there, we're satisfied that the incident is contained. There's no ongoing threat to public safety.
A big part of this investigation will be the nexus between the 3 people that were in that vehicle. The vehicle behind me, of course, will be seized by police, and that will be processed forensically to get any forensic evidence that may be in that car, and that'll help the officers with their investigation. Guys.
Steve, I can't imagine the chaos in that area when that happened. Initially, we were told there were 3 people critically stabbed and then a suspect in custody. So it sounds as though, you know, in all this confusion and everything, it is, in fact, 2 people who are fatally stabbed and 1, the suspect with minor injuries, correct?
Yeah, that's the information that I've got from police, Steph. And I can tell you, based on my experience as a homicide investigator, oftentimes when there is a knife fight, it is not uncommon for the person that is the aggressor to be stabbed either accidentally by themselves or when the knife is turned on them in a dispute with somebody trying to defend themselves. So it is not a surprise to me that all 3 were stabbed. And initially, when a occurrence happens like this, it is a lot of chaos. You're right. A lot of times I used to call it organized chaos, but information is flowing and it's changing all the time. So this may be why we had that information that there were 4 people involved, 3 victims rather, and an accused. Now we learn that there were only 3 people, 2 deceased and the accused. And my information is that all 3 of them came from that vehicle that you see behind me here.
Right.
And Steve, if you can clarify just a little bit from what the inspector said there on scene, this is quite a large scene that they have taped off. This vehicle was driving down the road when this incident happened. Can you kind of walk us through what led up to the actual stabbing?
Well, so the police received reports of an incident in the car. So clearly somebody driving by may have seen what was going on inside the vehicle, because you can see the vehicle is up on the curb itself. So it certainly does suggest that at some point in time, whoever was driving that vehicle lost control of it, and it came to rest on the west side in the southbound lanes of Bathurst. So that in and of itself is big evidence. When you look at that vehicle on its face, it certainly does suggest something went awry in that vehicle, caused it to get off of the road. So that'll be part of the investigation. And the 2 people that are outside the vehicle who were pronounced VSA, most likely, Scott, they made their way outside of the vehicle. And obviously the person that's driving the car lost control of the car at some point in time, and it came to rest on the curb. But those 2 people that were pronounced deceased, it didn't happen on the sidewalk. Clearly, the altercation happened inside the vehicle, as you can see where the car is right now. And most likely the 2 people that died made their way out of the vehicle prior to them losing their lives.
All right, CP24's Steve Ryan on the scene. Thanks so much for that, Steve.